The cult of Mithras, also known as Mithraism, was one of the most enigmatic and influential religious movements of the Roman Empire. Emerging between the 1st and 4th centuries CE, Mithraism centered around the worship of the god Mithras, a deity of Indo-Iranian origin whose roots can be traced back to ancient Persia. The religion was particularly popular among soldiers and the Roman military elite, though its appeal extended across various segments of Roman society. The origins of the Mithraic cult are complex and somewhat obscure. Mithras, the deity at the heart of this religion, originally appears in the ancient Indo-Iranian pantheon as a god of covenant and light, playing a role in the Zoroastrian religion of Persia. In the Zoroastrian tradition, Mithra was associated with the sun and served as a protector of truth and the cosmic order Asha. His transition from a Zoroastrian god into the central figure of a Roman mystery cult reflects a significant cultural and religious synthesis that took place over centuries. Mithraism, as practiced in the Roman Empire, was a mystery religion, meaning that its rites and beliefs were secretive and known only to initiates. The cult began to gain prominence in the Roman world during the 1st century CE, likely introduced by soldiers and merchants returning from campaigns in the East. Mithras was often depicted as a youthful figure wearing a Phrygian cap, slaying a bull in an act known as the tauroctony, which became the central iconographic motif of the religion. Mithraism spread rapidly throughout the Roman Empire, from the eastern provinces to the westernmost regions, including Britain and North Africa. The cult's popularity among soldiers was particularly notable. Many scholars suggest that the values promoted by Mithraism, such as loyalty, courage, and fraternity, resonated with the military ethos of the Roman legions. Mithraic temples, known as Mithraia, have been discovered in numerous locations, often near Roman military sites, which further underscores the religion's connection to the army. The Mithraia were often small, cave-like structures designed to emulate the underground cavern where Mithras was believed to have slain the primordial bull. These temples could accommodate only a limited number of worshippers, reflecting the exclusive nature of the cult. As a mystery religion, Mithraism required initiates to undergo a series of rites and ceremonies to gain deeper access to its teachings and mysteries. The levels of initiation were organized into 7 grades, each with its own symbolic meaning and associated rituals. In addition to its association with the military, Mithraism also found adherents among merchants, civil servants, and other members of the Roman middle class. The cult's emphasis on community, ritual meals, and the promise of salvation in the afterlife made it appealing to a wide range of individuals seeking spiritual solace in a rapidly changing and often tumultuous empire. The Mithraic mysteries remained popular until the 4th century CE, when the rise of Christianity and the subsequent establishment of it as the state religion of the Roman Empire led to the decline of many pagan religions. Despite its decline, the impact of Mithraism on Roman religious life, particularly its rituals and symbols, left a lasting imprint that can be traced even in the Christian practices that followed. One of the most intriguing aspects of the cult of Mithras was its secrecy, which was a defining characteristic of the religion. Unlike many other religious practices of the time that were open and public, Mithraism was a mystery religion. This meant that its teachings, rituals, and symbols were closely guarded secrets, accessible only to those who had undergone specific initiation rites. The secrecy surrounding Mithraism not only added to its allure, but also created a close-knit community of believers who shared a profound sense of belonging and identity. The very structure of Mithraic worship emphasized privacy and exclusivity. Mithraea were often hidden in natural caves or built underground, away from the public eye. The choice of such secluded locations reinforced the idea that the mysteries of Mithras were not meant for the uninitiated. These small, dimly lit spaces were designed to create an intimate and mystical atmosphere, suitable for the performance of secretive rituals. The secrecy extended to the teachings and symbols of the cult. Much of what we know about Mithraism today comes from archaeological evidence, such as inscriptions, frescoes, and sculptures found in these Mithraea. However, the true meanings of many Mithraic symbols remain elusive. The central image of Mithras slaying the bull, for example, has been interpreted in various ways, but its full significance is still debated among scholars. This ambiguity is likely intentional, as the meanings of these symbols would have been revealed progressively to initiates as they advanced through the levels of the cult. The initiation process in Mithraism was structured around a hierarchy of 7 grades, each representing a different stage in the spiritual journey of the initiate. These grades were Korax, raven; Nymphus, bridegroom; Miles, soldier; Leo, lion; Persis, Persian; Heliodromus, sunrunner; and Pater, father. Each grade had its own specific rituals, symbolic attire, and duties within the community. The initiation rites were elaborate and involved various forms of testing and purification. Initiates were often subjected to trials that tested their courage, endurance, and loyalty. These could include exposure to physical challenges, symbolic death and rebirth, and oaths of secrecy. The exact nature of these rites remains largely speculative due to the absence of detailed contemporary accounts. However, it is clear that the process was designed to strengthen the bond between the initiates and to instill a deep sense of commitment to the cult. One of the most significant aspects of the Mithraic initiation was the symbolic meal shared among the initiates. This meal, which often involved bread and wine, was a ritual reenactment of the feast shared by Mithras and the sun god Sol after the slaying of the bull. This communal meal not only reinforced the unity of the group, but also symbolized the sustenance provided by the god to his followers. The parallels between this Mithraic meal and the Christian Eucharist have been the subject of much scholarly discussion, suggesting that Mithraism may have influenced early Christian practices. The secrecy of Mithraism played a crucial role in fostering a strong sense of community among its followers. By keeping its teachings and rituals hidden from outsiders, the cult created an environment of trust and mutual support among its members. This exclusivity also helped to differentiate the Mithraic community from other religious groups in the Roman Empire, giving its adherents a unique identity. Moreover, the hierarchical structure of the cult, with its graded initiation process, encouraged a deep commitment to the group and its beliefs. As initiates progressed through the levels, they not only gained greater knowledge of the cult's mysteries, but also took on increasing responsibilities within the community. This progression helped to maintain the cohesion of the group, as each member had a clear role and purpose within the Mithraic society. The combination of secrecy, rigorous initiation, and a shared sense of purpose made Mithraism a powerful social force in the Roman Empire. It provided a spiritual refuge for those who sought meaning and companionship in a world that was often chaotic and uncertain. The cult of Mithras, with its complex rituals, strict hierarchy, and secretive nature, thrived for several centuries within the Roman Empire. However, like many other pagan religions, Mithraism eventually declined as the political and religious landscape of the empire transformed, particularly with the rise of Christianity. Despite its decline, the influence of Mithraism on later religious practices, especially within Christianity, remains a topic of considerable interest among historians and scholars. The decline of Mithraism began in the late 3rd and early 4th centuries CE, coinciding with the increasing prominence of Christianity. The transition from paganism to Christianity within the Roman Empire was a gradual process marked by significant political and social shifts. The conversion of Emperor Constantine to Christianity in the early 4th century was a pivotal moment that signaled the beginning of the end for many traditional Roman religions, including Mithraism. As Christianity gained official support and was eventually declared the state religion of the Roman Empire, the practice of pagan religions was increasingly marginalized. Christian leaders actively sought to suppress what they viewed as pagan idolatry, leading to the destruction of many Mithraic temples, Mithraea. The once thriving Mithraic communities were either forced to convert or driven underground, where they eventually faded into obscurity. Several factors contributed to the relatively rapid decline of Mithraism compared to other mystery religions. Unlike Christianity, which appealed to a broad demographic and offered a universal message of salvation, Mithraism was more exclusive, appealing primarily to a specific subset of the Roman population, particularly the military. This limited its ability to compete with the more inclusive and missionary-oriented Christian faith. Additionally, Mithraism lacked a centralized organizational structure, which made it more vulnerable to external pressures. While Christianity developed a well-defined ecclesiastical hierarchy and a canon of sacred texts, Mithraism remained decentralized, with each Mithraeum functioning independently. This lack of cohesion made it difficult for the Mithraic community to resist the growing power of the Christian Church. Despite its eventual decline, Mithraism left an indelible mark on the religious landscape of the Roman Empire, and some scholars argue that it may have influenced certain aspects of early Christian ritual and symbolism. The similarities between Mithraic and Christian practices, particularly in the use of communal meals, the concept of spiritual rebirth, and the symbolism of light and darkness, have been the subject of much debate. One of the most notable parallels is the Mithraic ritual meal, which bears a striking resemblance to the Christian Eucharist. In Mithraism, the ritual meal, often involving bread and wine, was a central act of worship, symbolizing the shared bond between the god Mithras and his followers. Similarly, the Christian Eucharist, which commemorates the Last Supper of Jesus with his disciples, involves the consumption of bread and wine as symbols of Christ's body and blood. Some scholars suggest that the Christian practice may have been influenced by or developed in parallel with the Mithraic tradition. Another area of potential influence is the imagery of light and darkness. Mithras was often associated with the sun, and the theme of light overcoming darkness was central to Mithraic belief. This theme resonates with early Christian symbolism, where Christ is often depicted as the light of the world, who triumphs over the forces of darkness. The celebration of Mithras's birth on December 25th, which was associated with the rebirth of the sun, is another point of comparison, as this date was later adopted by Christianity as the celebration of Christ's birth. Although Mithraism did not survive as an organized religion, its legacy can be seen in the ways it shaped the spiritual and cultural environment of the Roman Empire. The emphasis on personal salvation, communal meals, and the use of complex symbols and rituals in Mithraism likely contributed to the development of religious practices that persisted long after the cult itself had vanished. In modern times, Mithraism has become a subject of fascination for historians, archaeologists, and those interested in the study of ancient religions. The rediscovery of Mithraea and Mithraic artifacts has provided valuable insights into the beliefs and practices of this mysterious cult. While much about Mithraism remains unknown, the ongoing study of its rituals, symbols, and influence continues to shed light on the religious dynamics of the ancient world. In conclusion, the cult of Mithras was a significant and enigmatic force in the religious life of the Roman Empire. Its emphasis on secrecy, rigorous initiation, and the worship of a powerful god who promised salvation to his followers made it a compelling option for many Romans, particularly those in the military. Although it ultimately succumbed to the rise of Christianity, Mithraism's influence can still be traced in the religious and cultural practices that followed. The legacy of Mithras, the god of light and truth, continues to captivate those who seek to understand the spiritual history of the ancient world.